It's Beth again with pottery, and this is the pot that I threw a few days ago. So it's now put on the wheel upside down. It is about the consistency of leather, so it's called leather hard. And what I'm going to do is trim the bottom and clean up the side here so that it'll be a little smoother looking line here, and then do some trimming on the bottom. So. And this little carving tool is going to help me to peel off some of the clay. And there's two sides to it. I always use the rounded one. It's just easier for me. So here we go. You see it peels off really nicely. So I'm looking at this line. I'm gonna try to get a little more angle in here and make the circle on top a little bit smaller. And sometimes what I'll do actually is I'll make the circle smaller first, so I kind of have a goal how much I want to go in. And then I can even start a little bit on the bottom just to start smoothing it out. It's a little crooked on the bottom. So all right, so now I have something I can kind of aim for. And so the line's starting to get a little straighter. It still kind of pops out a little bit, so I'm going to try to get it a little more. And I just kind of make a pass, and then I stop and see, I'm getting close to the shape, but I want a little more angle. And then sometimes I'll experiment with the flat side. For me, I find it a little harder to control what happens, but sometimes you just get a different effect with it. And yeah, I think on the bottom I left too much clay, so it's a little harder for me to smooth this out. Although when it stops, like, it looks a little better. When it's moving, you can really see the where it's not even. It just sort of undulates. So I'll do another pass.
Okay.
So in this little kit, I found this other trimming tool. This is a shape I usually don't use, but I'm just going to experiment and see what it does. And then I'm going to use this metal rib to smooth it out. But I'm just curious what this circle will do. So you usually don't use a shape like this for a trimming tool. So the circle takes off a lot less clay, so I guess it's kind of for finer detail. And actually that does a pretty good job of smoothing out the surface. So that's kind of cool. I never used one like this at the studio that I go to. They have them and I just never used them. But this little kit that I bought online has it, so it's kind of fun to experiment. I can get one more pass with the metal rib, and hopefully that's just going to do the final sort of smoothing out. As I said, this is a little uneven. The way I threw it wasn't as even as it could have been. So there's kind of some bump in there that's a little hard to totally get rid of, but once I get the glaze on it and everything, it'll sort of camouflage it. That'll help. And then the final thing I've got to do, the bottom's got a little extra clay, and it's too heavy, so now I can use this tool, and I'm going to carve the bottom and thin it out a little bit. And unfortunately I've got like a bump here, so that's going to make it a little hard to even out, but hopefully I can sort of make it come out even in the end. So this is just a rough pass, just to kind of try to make everything be on one level so that I don't have that bump on the bottom. Because of course when it's sitting upright, you want it to not wobble. If you're patient and you just kind of do it, this happens to me a lot actually, so I just go very slowly and I go out to this ring that I made, and I'm going to just keep taking a little bit off at a time. Yeah, see, it's pulling on it and wobbling it, and I don't want that. So this is not the best demonstration of trimming. Usually trimming's a little easier to do than this. This is sort of a tricky one. So there, now I'm getting a nice little spiral. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. So now I sign it. And now it's ready to put some glaze on. Okay, so now I'm ready to paint. And this is kind of stream of consciousness the way I paint, but I'm going to start with some black. Because this is going to eventually show trees growing out of the ground, and it's at sunset, so I'm going to just have a very thin line of black. And you end up, you have to do it a bunch of times because the paint has to be thick enough to really saturate where the clay is. And usually I do this with my glasses on, so it's a little blurry for me, but it's okay. It's going to be like this ombre thing where one color will bleed into the next one. Okay, so that's kind of my base there. I guess give it one more little dose. It's kind of as much as the clay might want to absorb. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just kind of go up and I've got some purples, which will go into the rose, to the red, to the orange, to the white. So that's kind of going to be my path. And then the trick is to kind of blend things together. So I'll go to the purple and sort of put that next. And then I'm going to try to kind of blend a little black into it so that hopefully it's not just a straight line. It has a little bit of a blur to it. And so I've got my purple. That's actually the amethyst. These are probably very few people watching this are potters, but I know I have a couple friends who are potters. This is the Amico glazes. Okay. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to getting a little redder and a little redder. So now I'll try some of this. This is rose color. So and sometimes what I do actually is I'll do kind of figure out where I want the rose to be first. And you're just trying to get the clay to absorb this underglaze because the clay's still a little bit wet too. Again, I'm going to go and I'll get some of the previous one, and I just keep trying to blend them the best I can. Oh, here's Pepe back to help. He never got a chance to help me with pottery until now. This is a really pretty color. I've never used this. What is this? This is called bright red. This is really pretty. I mean, just now. What's interesting though is that sometimes when you put them on like this, they'll look a little different after they've been through the kiln, but they're pretty close. Usually the Amicos come out about the way you might expect them to. I know, Pepe. You can help. So again, I'm just trying to saturate as much as I can to get this red on here. Now I will go to this beautiful orange. This is called flame orange. This is new. This is a new one for me too. And I'll do some flame orange. Now eventually I'm going to go as far as I can this way, and then I'll flip the vase the other way to get the top of it done. But do more orange. Yeah, this one's it's like you get the first glob on and then it's kind of hard to get any more on. You have to just keep loading up the brush and trying to get more on. Yeah, I think I'll probably end up making another pass on all of these, but at least you see kind of the procedure I like to do. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, hi Pepe. You here to help? Alright, so I've just flipped it over, and I found this other orange that I had in my other box, and I'm going to use some of this. It's a lighter orange. Now, I can't go too fast with this because this is not tacked down to the wheel. Can't do that. So I have to be a little careful, and I want to push it off center. Okay. Now, the difference from this orange to this yellow is pretty extreme, so I'm going to put together a little combo here and create a mix as an intermediate color, because I think it's a little too much to go from one to the other immediately. Okay, so put some nice, this is really bright yellow. Okay, so I'll just put a little here. I'm just getting a little bit lighter. Add that in. Now this is very watery, so this will take a while to saturate. And then I guess I'll try, let's see how yellow this is. Oh, this is really yellow. But that's okay, I kind of like it. I'll just try to blend it in with what is underneath it. And kind of stop there. This is, I think it's going to be really pretty, actually. And I think I'll do one more yellow, quite yellow. And my final color at the top, I'm going to mix that yellow with some white. So it'll be the lightest of all. So that's basically how I do it. I'm going to clean it up. I won't keep doing this on the camera because it's going to take a while, but that's my basic technique for trying to create a gradual change in the color. So I'll keep working on this, and then the next video I do will be painting the actual trees on top of this. So thanks for watching.